I'm Danno.
I'm Dave.
I'm Antonio.
And I'm Gordon.
And this is the Basement Roadshow AV Club. We watch things and talk about them. We're like a book club.
Except none of us know how to fucking read.
And here we are again. We are watching Arrow Season 1, Episodes 16 through 20. We are almost done with this season, so let's see what happens this time.
I don't know why my father bought her that canary. That thing chirped at night and day, drove us all nuts.
But Codebreaker is my middle name. Actually, it's Megan.
Felicity.
Does Lawton kick his dog or something?
You're bleeding!
Yeah, that's what happens when you get stabbed.
All the party, Nick Salvati, Gus Sabatoni. You are quite the hunter, Miss Bertinelli. Well, I guess I should make that Huntress.
Maybe it is better being alone. I'm not seeing anyone currently, but if I were, I don't know how I'd tell him about today.
Better get going to the airport. That red eye to Central City. Should be home in a flash.
Clear. What a beautiful home.
In these 5 episodes, Tommy goes through the most changes as a character. From the moment he learns that Oliver is the vigilante, his life starts to fall apart. All of this leads up to him quitting his job at the club, reuniting with his father, and breaking up with Laurel. What do you think about this development? And are there any other character development arcs in these episodes you'd like to mention?
I actually really like it because I feel like up until this point, Tommy was kind of a character that didn't get utilized as much or as well as he could have. And that development kind of brings him to the forefront. And I like that because he's a good, I guess, foil to Oliver's vigilante masquerading. I really like it because I really like Tommy's character. And I feel like this kind of helps him come into his own as a character.
I am going to disagree with you there. I mean, yeah, it's kind of good how the development goes, but a big problem that I have is where problems can be solved by just simple communication, but it doesn't happen because for drama's sake. And I feel it's kind of like weird and flat how, Tommy and Oliver are best friends. Oliver just saved his father. If Tommy goes to his memory, he'll think that, hey, Oliver saved my life on multiple occasions. Maybe I should at least give him a minute to explain himself. But he's just like, no, I don't want to hear it. You're a killer. The world is black and white. And you're on the black side. So really him quitting his job at the club, kind of being dicked around by Malcolm, breaking up with Laurel, all those bad things that happened to him is 100% his fault. And I don't really feel sympathetic to that because, yeah, it's shitty, but he had the option all along to be like, hey, Ollie, let's sit down. I need to know what happened. And he doesn't do that.
You know, fuck you, because I miss Tommy. Tommy's the best, okay? He's just like this normal trust fund baby piece of shit who then suddenly stops being a total piece of shit, but it's still kind of a piece of shit. But he just like adds an interesting dynamic that Oliver has to deal with, like the repercussions of his vigilantism in his real life, instead of in later seasons where everyone who's in his real life is also a vigilante for no reason. And like, yeah, okay, in this part, I would say there's definitely some aspects of Tommy's character that are like not as likable, maybe. But I think overall he adds like a really nice depth to the story, even if he's not someone you want to like hang out with.
I think that the things that happen to Tommy for me are less about making me sympathize with him and more about showing that essentially he's taking control of his fate. So yes, he's upset that he learned Oliver has lied to him and had no plans in ever telling him the truth anyway. But he decides to quit the job at the club. He decides to break up with Laurel. It is 100% his fault, like you said, but I think that's the growth of his character is he's been this trust fund kid who's had everything handed out to him. And so, yeah, he started working at the club. He started getting that. But like now, these are his decisions that he's making. And yes, they may not be the best decisions and they may not make him a sympathetic character, but he's definitely the focus of these episodes. Tommy and Oliver's relationship and the conflict that's going on there, I believe, is the real central focus, especially in these 5 episodes, because it's kind of been a side story here and there up until this point. Guys, is it okay for me to hate every episode with Helena in it?
No, because that's my girlfriend.
Yes, because she kind of sucks. Okay, yeah, so she's like cute and all right? Like the actress is cute, but like she has this, I don't know, this like quality to her voice where I just like don't ever want her to speak.
I think my main gripes with her aren't even necessarily anything about her individual character, but more like she has such an insane amount of leverage on Oliver by virtue of knowing who he is and what he does. And I feel like she uses that leverage a little bit, but like not to anywhere near the degree that I think they could have written it in to where it made her like a really dangerous, really, really, menacing presence. I don't know. She just kind of seems like a bit of a waste as a character.
She does still kind of use the knowledge of Oliver and his real identity to pressure him into the situations. Like this episode, she goes and breaks Tommy's fucking arm pretty much to get Oliver to do what she wants him to do and help her try to kill her father. And I think it's kind of just like, we obviously haven't seen the last of Helena because the dad's still alive, and basically the one trick pony of her character arc is, I gotta kill my dad. For her to use all the leverage that she has immediately, like the next time we see her, wouldn't really leave a whole lot on the table for the next time we see her. Because it's like, oh, well, you already threatened to disseminate Oliver's real identity.
That's fair.
There's no stake raising.
My biggest issue, I feel like, is the whole Huntress thing is a really good idea that doesn't necessarily get the execution and love that it deserves by nature of the fact that like Helena is a one-note character and she recurs like once in this season, and I think like once in the next season. That's
You're
kind of
correct.
it. And I'm just like, I'm sick of them doing my girl Huntress dirty, Like she's not even going to be like Birds of Prey. She's a main character in Birds of Prey. She's not going to be even in the fucking Birds of Prey movie.
I think she works better as a character in a Batman story than she does in a Green Arrow story, especially this version of Green Arrow, where Oliver seemingly has no problem with killing when he deems it necessary, but anytime somebody else deems it's necessary, it's not. But also in this latest Helena episode, the thing that just made me groan throughout the entire episode is this whole thing of how Diggle and Helena are trying to get Oliver to admit he still has feelings for Helena. And it did not make sense to me. And it's like,
your psycho ex-girlfriend. Ugh.
Right. And then Diggle's like, you didn't kill her when she had Tommy because you still have feelings for her. Like, or because she was in a position to kill Tommy. And then it was her at the end of the episode saying like, you need to admit you still have feelings for me. Like, that should not even be part of this whole conversation. With a lot of different arcs happening at the same time, the story of some episodes feel a bit cluttered. And the worst arc out of all of these is the one with Laurel's mom and whether Sara is still alive. What did you think about this story, and are there others you want to discuss?
Sara being alive, that's a fucking stretch. Like, not necessarily Sara being alive in and of itself, but just the evidence. Like, a mom's intuition coupled with a girl that kind of looks like her with a baseball cap from the same team.
It's pretty thin.
The fact that, like, Laurel and Quentin are just like, okay, the fact that they just dove in on it and believed her
as quickly as they did.
Yeah, on such flimsy evidence is just like, what? A detective and a lawyer.
It's very much, people who should be very, very skeptical of this. It's a very ham-fisted way to eventually bring a character into the fold. It's not handled very well.
This episode is really bad in hindsight, too, because it's just like, there's literally no reason in this episode for Sara to still be alive.
Yeah.
So, like, the fact that, spoiler alert, she ends up being alive eventually is like, just makes this even dumber. It's like they wrote this episode before they even had any plan for this whole thing, and it's just kind of this weird one-off episode, and they're like, oh yeah, here's her mom who like barely shows up ever again.
And I think it is funny that you have Detective Lance who says he'll look at it. He is a detective, head of the vigilante task force. And then it takes Laurel, the lawyer, to think, well, maybe I should just call my friend up at the Chinese embassy. Like, what was Lance? What was the detective doing the entire time?
Why wasn't that his first thought?
I was chasing down some leads. I don't know. We get another episode with Vertigo, which I felt was significantly better than the first episode involving the drug. And I liked the Count's crazy rantings. And while he isn't the true villain of the episode, I enjoyed the internal conflict Oliver goes through with the drugs and the Count's return. What did you think?
I thought it was great. I think, you nailed it in the wording of the question. It's way better than the first appearance. And there's one scene in particular right at the very end where Vertigo's strapped to the chair after they found out the conspiracy with Vertigo's doctor, and Oliver he's got his bow drawn back with an arrow right at his head. And it's like, damn, man, given all the complaining we do about the morality of Oliver and killing and everything in the first season, it's still a semi-poignant moment, I feel like, because he hesitates for a sec. He's got an arrow straight to this dude's dome.
It's really well done. I like the actor that they have playing the Count. Like, he does a really good job of being that crazy guy, and does it in a way unlike, I feel like so many crazy people nowadays, their approach is just to replicate Mark Hamill's Joker.
Yes.
It's
absolutely
all they know how to do. And this guy actually goes in and just does his own thing, and it's really cool and interesting.
It's kind of funny that there's so much praise right now going towards the Count's mannerisms and whatnot, considering the last time we discussed him, we really didn't like the comic book villain take on him. I'm okay with it right now, in this particular episode, because there is kind of an excuse or a reason for him to be bonkers, because he's OD'd on a vicious drug and his mind is quote unquote just wasted away. So I'm kind of okay with him acting like the bad guy from a cereal commercial in this particular episode because of that reason. And the way the episode develops around him is fine. It's great. I would be okay with not seeing the Count ever again.
So I think I excused the Count's dialogue in this episode a little bit more because he is driven absolutely crazy, whereas the dialogue he had before was very comic booky, and I think he says some similar lines in this, but he's clearly out of his mind, and he's also clearly doing it with some more, I think, just energy and emotion from that, and maybe that's because he's playing it more as a crazy person. And I honestly would have been fine with him being the villain of the episode, but he's just completely out of his mind. But I think having the doctor be the villain and Oliver having to decide, do I kill this guy or not? Because at the beginning of the episode, Oliver blames himself for the woman who's died because he didn't go all the way and kill the Count the first time. So at the end of the episode, he's still dealing with that. And I think that's what really makes this episode work, is that it's
that struggle.
It's less about Oliver versus drug dealers and more about Oliver's internal conflict with himself and him deciding, I didn't kill this guy when I had the chance, and now people are dying because of that. So now I have to make that wrong right, but is it now right?
Is it fair? Is it justified when he's clearly just not there? His mind is gone and he's been exploited and used and, And like I said, that's why I like that scene where he's just standing over him with, an arrow straight to his forehead.
And Giggles there at the side watching him.
It's a bit intense. I like it.
So that's what we thought about Arrow Season 1, Episodes 16 through 20. What did you think? Let us know in the comments below. Otherwise, I'm Danno.
I'm Dave.
I'm Antonio.
And I'm Gordon.
And this has been the Basement Roadshow AV Club. Join us next time as we'll be finishing Arrow Season 1.
Problems can just be solved by communication, and that, maybe not, shit.
And here we are watching Arrow Season 1, Episodes 16 through 20. We're almost done with the show. Let's see what happens this time.
You might want to say we're almost done with the season.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Crap. Good point.
I feel it's kind of... Shit.
That's what you get for disagreeing with me, bitch.
We had Indian for lunch today at work.
Ooh.
Okay. And
I
then
like Indian food.
I like Indian food, but Indian food and me sometimes have a disagreement afterwards.
I
just had like heartburn all day, and then I went and got Buffalo Wild Wings with my roommate.
Nice.
You're combining Indian food with Buffalo Wild Wings?
So if I'm dead tomorrow, like if you never hear from me again, that's why.
You found the
Darn,
secret combination.
You are not being kind to your stomach.
No, it's bad. I am frequently not kind to my colon. I treat my colon like a masochistic bitch.
For her to use like all of the leverage that she has, it would kind of be God damn it.
Yeah, I think she... Let me start over, sorry.
Acting like the bad guy in a cereal commercial, but it's every time. Just I shit the bed every sentence that I say.
You've got this. Use your words, buddy.
Yeah.
They should like, comment, and subscribe, and shove it at their butt.
What?
I feel like...
Hold on.
Yeah, what? You don't shove YouTube up your butthole?
Not after the last time.